Now, Goodyear said at trial, I was a poor performer. In fact, somewhere during the testimony up in Washington, they said, the lawyer who came in to argue against me, they said I was a poor performer. It was like one of the female senators asked the person arguing against me, well, why did they keep her 20 years? Good point. They got cheap labor. But going back to the poor performance, in the early 90s, Goodyear Gadsden, Alabama started a light truck radial division. They needed 4 special area managers to start that up, and I was one of them. They selected 4 of us, and we each were called to the plant manager's office, and they explained why we were each being selected, because they wanted to start a different philosophy in their management where we would train our people to make some decisions without having to call us each time. We didn't go on the floor and look for what was wrong. We had to report at the end of our shift what we saw was right. It was a total different turnaround than what they had expected before. But I was so honored, and so many of my peers wanted to know how did I get that position. But Goodyear had enough confidence in me and the plant manager at that time to put me in that position. In 1996, on that same job, I got a top performance award. But that previous manager that I worked for got on the stand and said, well, I noticed her wages were quite low, and I wanted to try to get them up, and I could give her a bigger raise by giving her a top performance. Well, the judge loved it because I was so fortunate. And I will have to tell you, I had faith from day one in the legal system, and it worked for Lilly Ledbetter until the Supreme Court. It worked all the way through. And I had a judge in Alabama who just retired in January, Judge U.W. Clement, very fair. He jumped on that real quick, and he started quizzing my former boss on why didn't he do something about my low wages. So they finally dropped that conversation and moved on. But after the 2003 verdict, $3.8 million, the judge had to ask the foreman to sit down, and he explained to everyone in the courtroom that there was a $300,000 cap because that's what Congress put on in 1991. If I'd worked for a smaller employer, it could have only been $50,000. Now, when we fought for the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act to be passed, our opponents and the large employers, some across the country, argued against us saying, why, and there was even one justice said this, there'd be people coming out of the woodwork to file charges, while women would work for 40 years and they'd retire, and then they'd file a charge to get that big payday. Well, let me tell you, there's not a big payday, and this is not a savings plan, I can assure you, because like in my case, there was not any money. First of all, I'm limited to $300,000, and 2 years back pay is all you're entitled to. 2 years, you can work for 50 years. If you can hold out that long, you can only get 2 years back pay. And in my case, they took the lowest paid male in the department and calculated my pay, just the base, on his. And he had been there less than a year in that job. So they gave me $30,000 per year. So when I left the courtroom that day, I was entitled to $360,000. That's all. Now, the lawyers had already explained I would have to pay taxes because most of it was in lieu of wages. That would be federal and state of Alabama. Goodyear appealed. 11th Circuit threw it out. I'm told today that's the worst circuit in the country. My 11-year-old grandson could have written a better response than I got back from 11th Circuit. In fact, I don't think he makes that many errors. But we appealed, and in July of '06, we heard from the Supreme Court they would hear our case. So we were there in November of 2006.